Firstly, we're going to be discussing end of season antics in the Championship. Ipswich are up, but are Leeds falling apart again? But from one unpopular club to another, we're also going to be joined by a Manchester United fan off the back of that 4-0 shit show this past week. We're also going to be keeping an eye on the Bayer Leverkusen score, as tonight they're playing Roma in the Europa League and they're looking to make it 49 games unbeaten. An incredible streak they're on. Can they make it all the way to the end of the season? But also, if they do it, how would that compare to Leicester City, the fairy tale, the fearless Foxes in 2016, defying the odds, shocking the world and winning the Premier League? We're going to have a little debate as well, which is the most surprising. Ladies and gents, it is absolutely boiling. It's a sweat fest here at Football Paradise, but loads coming up. Get involved in the comments below. Here we go then, ladies and gents. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Had a few technical issues setting this up. Whoa, just about to put on my bit of fit over my headphones. My Leverkusen hat, because to the side of me, I've got Bayer Leverkusen versus Roma on the go. Obviously, Aston Villa are playing tonight. It's a good evening for European football. And speaking of good evenings, good evening, everyone. We've got some good guests. I can see a couple in the studio. One's wearing a dirty Leeds shirt. And we've got Andrew over there as well, the Arsenal fan. We're gonna reminisce about old times. He's got some nostalgia, and we're gonna talk Arsenal. We've also got possibly a Manchester United fan. No, not me. We've got another Man United fan on the go as well. So it's going to be a good stream tonight. It's going to be a nice chilled out one. Get involved in the comments below. But also, you've read the title. We're not just going to be talking the Championship. The fact that Leeds are maybe falling apart again. We'll get onto that in a moment. We're going to be talking Premier League as we approach the final couple of weeks. But our main topic, which I need everyone to get involved in, is on the screen right now. Would a Leverkusen undisputed, undefeated, invincible treble be, obviously on paper, it's better than just winning the Premier League, but obviously Leicester's fairy tale 2016, obviously we still look back with such fondness that a Leicester City could win the Premier League. Which was more impressive? Get involved in the comments below. Before we go to our first guest, I'm just going to check the comment section. We've got a few of you already quite active. How are we, Roy? I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Leverkusen is by far the most amazing story. Good evening. Yes, Roy Dog. Hello, we hate Big Bev. So we've got a Peterborough fan in the chat. Hopefully you've recovered from last night, mate. If you did see, ladies and gents, the EFL trophy video, Big Bev is John, who we had the pleasure of spending the day with. Unfortunately, it's not another Wembley trip for John. I think he did take it quite badly last night, mate, didn't you? I did try winding you up a little bit. If Leverkusen go unbeaten, let's get your comments on show, shall we? Jake said if Leverkusen, or Neverkusen, should I say, go unbeaten through Europe and their cup, that is more amazing. Yeah, I mean, in terms of accomplishments, doing a treble, undefeated, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. They've done everything they could possibly do. But we're talking not just the most impressive, but the most surprising as well. Which would surprise us the most? Obviously, being English, there's some bias with kind of knowledge of the English game and so on. But enough of me rambling. We're going to catch up with you guys back in the comment section in a moment. Again, remember, get involved in the comments. We're going to head nice and early at 6 minutes past 8 to our first guest. We've got Lucas. Hello, mate.
What's happening? How are we? Good?
We're good. We're good, mate. And it's a shame. There's something on my camera over there. I don't know what it is. It's a bit of dirt.
Oh, wrong side.
The old ones are the best.
That's it, innit? You got some shit on your shirt, pal.
Hey, yeah, well, I thought I would be Mr. Neutral today. I've got the old Villa Hawaiian shirt on. I've got the Everton Hawaiian shorts on. And I've got a Leverkusen hat on. So I'll save the bias for today. But, mate, I want to hear your thoughts, not just on Leeds. Obviously, it's been a kind of a difficult end. It wasn't just Leeds. It was all those fighting for promotion kind of went a bit wayward at the end. What are your thoughts on Leeds at the moment?
To be honest with you, as a Leeds fan, it's just pain after pain. Do you know what I mean? You take you take the lows or the even lower. But this season, you know, we've got 90 points on the board. Any other season in the Championship, you go up on that as champions, didn't you? But the last 5 or 6 games, I think we played last 6. After we lost to Cov, we played 6 and only won once. We beat Borough away 4-3, which, if I'm honest, was an absolute shit show as well. You know, losing away at QPR 4-0.
Yeah.
Mate, what can I say? Leeds. It's the most Leeds thing in the world. Like, to be absolutely flying and then for it all to fall apart. I hate to talk about stereotypes, but that song fits us absolutely bang on at the minute, doesn't it?
I'm only mentioning it because I was obviously in the Huddersfield end at that Ipswich game, and they seem to be more worried about what you guys were doing than what their own team were doing. So
yeah, that's it, mate.
They were
absolutely obsessed.
if you take away the run you had from what was it like January to like a month or so ago, because let's be honest, Southampton looked like they were going to kind of creep up there from their little unbeaten run, but you just went like amazing, didn't you, for a few months? And it was just a shame because I mean Ipswich crumbled a little bit. Obviously Leicester crumbled, lost on the final game of the season as well. So it wasn't just Leeds, but you're facing you've got Norwich, haven't you? Have you got Norwich? Yeah, you got
Norwich.
Norwich, yeah. So what are your thoughts? Score prediction?
The first leg's away. Sunday. Is it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. I think if I'm honest with you, I'm not expecting a lot. I'm really not. I think we're going to get battered away. And I mean, we was unbeaten at home until the Blackburn game, and the losing 1-0 to them was awful. It was the worst game. It's the worst I've seen us play all season, apart from the QPR game the other week. But if I'm honest, I think we shit the bed, mate. I think we'll bottle it and end up in the Championship again next season. Obviously, with FFP, loads of the players are going to be on the way out. We're going to have half a squad, and I just think we're going to be another mid-table Championship side, and fucking is what it is, mate, isn't it?
It's difficult because I think even with the teams who go up, like Leicester are going to have the odds against them from the get-go, just from their financial situation. It is almost like kind of you get, what's the word? You get penalised for trying to compete with the big boys, don't you?
Yeah,
it takes years to recover. So
I see it. I think. Go on, mate.
Sorry. Yeah. No, you go for it.
If you look at like as well, if we did go up, you got to look at the bottom 3 in the Prem now. It's all the teams that went up last season. I think the gap between like the jump between the Championship and the Premier League is bigger than ever. And sides like Burnley, Sheffield United, and Luton have not got the money to compete. If you look at even like the top 6 or 7 in the Prem, if you then look at the gap below that, like financially, it's ridiculous. The big clubs are going to get bigger, and the smaller clubs are just going to stay where they are. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think if you're going to go into the Prem, you need to spend 200 million, but you can't because of FFP.
Yeah, it's the risk, isn't it? Because, I mean, as a Leeds fan, you know all about that. This isn't just a new thing because obviously you spent to compete in the Champions League and then you suffered for like 20 years off the back of it, didn't you? So,
yeah, literally.
It's not like a new thing. It's always been an issue competing with the big boys.
Yeah, I know, mate. It's frustrating. Trust me, being a Leeds fan's frustrating. It's like, I love my club to bits, and I realise I can't see the comments. So if anyone's having a dig about my accent, I do live in Leeds. I do actually live in Leeds, so do you know what I mean? It's not like I live down south as a Leeds fan. I live in Leeds. Like I live literally 10 minutes from Ellen Road.
If a Leeds fan and a Man United fan couldn't be any more dislikable, we both have accents which don't match.
I know, yeah.
Terrible.
Get a Millwall fan in here and everyone will leave.
yeah. Christ. So it's more taking a piss out of my hat, mainly. Let's have Jake saying we waxed lyrical about Man United's treble and Man City's, but they were both beaten on there. So the boys are talking about obviously Leverkusen's run at the moment.
Okay.
I think we're going to move on. We're going to stay Leeds related, mate. But I want to kind of get your thoughts on, like all the playoffs, not just Leeds. I kind of want to hear about both sides of the spectrum. I mean, everyone's banking on maybe a Leeds Southampton final. Could you see that being a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like with the Leeds thing, like we are capable of being absolute shit, but then we occasionally will turn up. I mean, I think if we do beat Norwich, psychologically, because we've lost twice to Southampton this season, we lost them away and then again at home the other day, I think psychologically it could be an issue for the players. I mean, if you
Yeah.
like, we've not took hidings off them, but still we've lost twice to them. And I don't rate Southampton that highly. I mean, there's probably people who say they're a better side than Leeds, and if on current form, yeah, they probably are. But I don't know, mate. It's so difficult to predict anything with Leeds. Like the amount of times I've gone, "Oh, we batter them" and lost 5-0. It's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's why the Championship is such a good league. I mean, I don't know if you listened. There's a podcast called the Second Tier Podcast, and they were talking about how form is vital in the playoffs. But I think it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I think it's anyone's for the taking in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think in the final definitely, because it's a one-off game. Any side can beat any side. I was talking to my granddad this morning about the prospect of Dortmund winning the Champions League. Now, as a football lover, my old man's big. Yeah, I love that shirt, mate. It's well smart. That is a quality shirt. My old man's he's always been big on. Oh, Olympiacos have just scored. Yeah, my old man's always been a big Madrid fan.
The Villa odds are massively stacked against him. Sorry to change the subject, mate.
That's all right,
so I've got the Leverkusen game on, and it's still 0-0, by the way, guys. So I need a little score ticker on the go, so we can all keep an eye out at the same time. So
yeah, when I dropped into the.
So have you got the Villa game on? You can update us on the Villa game,
because you said you had the Leverkusen game on, so I stuck the Villa game on so that we could try and keep up with it.
Yeah. Happy days. So 1-0 down already. Ooh.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Villa were going to win that tournament, mate.
Nah, no chance. No chance. Villa are a good side, but I think they've been found out now. If you look at like the second half of the season, like the sides they beat before Christmas are now turning them over. They've been found out, mate, tactically. I think Unai Emery is a good manager, but it's the same thing that happened at Arsenal. They got found out.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, Villa can't be, annoyed at their season. They've had a great season. They're going to be playing Champions League football next season. Let's just hope, like you say, they don't do a Leeds of, what was it, early 2000s and overspend to try and compete. And I think the FFP rules will bend a little bit. So just say, hypothetically, Leeds were to get knocked out of the playoffs, and it was going to be hypothetically, a Southampton versus Norwich playoff final. Do you think it is Southampton's for the taking?
Yeah, I think it's Southampton's to lose, mate, if I'm honest. I think, like I said, on current form, they're a good side. And if I'm honest, I really, really rate that Adam Armstrong. I think he's fucking mustard. He's such a good player. He's so underrated. He was quality at Blackburn. When he moved to Southampton, I was like, that's a great move for him. And he's been absolutely brilliant for him. I'd love a striker like that, because Bamford is fucking useless. Excuse my French.
Bamford's he's like a good Championship striker, but as soon as he's non-existent when he gets into the Premier League, isn't he? You just don't hear or see from him. But I don't want to be disrespectful to West Brom as well, because they're always knocking about. They're always there or thereabouts, aren't they? So
the baggies always in and about it.
They did it as well. But mate, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I just want to lastly ask you the topic of the day. Would you say, let's not go with the most impressive, which is the most shocking, Leverkusen unbeaten treble, if they do it, or Leicester winning the Premier League? What are we saying?
If I'm honest,
the most shocking, the most surprising.
I don't know. This is a topic. I think for me, because no one saw anyone getting anywhere near the Bundesliga because Bayern have been so dominant. But then Carlo and what's his fucking name? The geezer that was in charge at Leicester when they won the league. The Tinker Man.
Ranieri.
Claudio Ranieri, that's it.
Yeah.
I think for me, the fact that Leicester won the league is no one saw it coming. And I think Leicester for me personally, but I don't know, people may disagree, but I do think
I've just changed it on the ticker. We're not going with most impressive, because surely winning 3 trophies is more impressive than winning 1, regardless of which team you are. We're on about shocking, surprising. If you were to be told both of those kind of stories, and which one would you believe, even though obviously they could both come true? So you'll go with Leicester, mate.
Leicester.
Happy days. Legend. It's been a pleasure talking to you, mate. I'll have a catch up with you on Instagram after, and really appreciate that.
Cheers, Ryan. Thanks for having me on, pal.
We're all 8 Leeds.
Hey, all right. Cheers, mate. See you later. Buddy. Cheers.
There we go, then, guys. So, yes, a nice little chat with a Leeds fan there. What are your thoughts on the playoffs? Get involved in the comments below. So we've got Leicester. Somebody's saying that Leicester's 2016 run is more shocking, more surprising than a possible Leverkusen. And sorry if I do look like I'm looking to one side. It is still 0-0 in the Leverkusen game. And Lucas did say apparently Villa are 1-0 down. I need to double check that as well on my phone. But do you know what? My second guest, I don't think is available quite yet. So Andrew, I don't know if you can hear me. Can I get you on earlier, mate? Give a thumbs up because I can't hear you. Thumbs up if you're ready. Let's get you on, mate. Let's get you on. Here he is.
Hi, Roy. How are you?
Very well, mate. Very well. So introduce yourself. Who do you support, and what are your thoughts on your club season this year, mate?
My name's Andrew. I support Arsenal. I've supported them since 1991. I think they're doing well this season. I think that's we might lose it at the end to Manchester City. They seem to grind out results.
So I want to speak to you firstly. You've got some great nostalgic items, which we'll see in a moment. As the game is approaching this weekend, I know a lot of United fans don't want to admit it publicly, but they're kind of hoping that Arsenal beat City to this Premier League title. Obviously, we don't want City winning 4 in a row. Do you think United are going to roll over, or do you think United are that bad they're just going to hand you the 3 points this weekend?
I think that with like previous history with Arsenal playing at Old Trafford, we never seem to do too well there,
Yeah. You've been unlucky. They've been close games.
There was one game we lost 8-2, was it, or 8-1?
So what was that? That's got to be about 10 years ago now, something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. I think we could win this weekend, but there might be a backlash from United, I fear.
It's going to be so weird. I'm kind of dreading watching it, actually, because obviously I try and play neutral on the channel, but my kind of years of following United do take over when I'm watching a game. But on the same, I never thought I'd say it, wanting Arsenal to win the league title is crazy. But mate, you've been supporting Arsenal since 91. You've got the shirt, the Bruce Banana in the background. That would have been the away shirt at the time, possibly?
1992, 1992.
Yeah, and what an amazing shirt it is. You've got a few nostalgic items you've shown me before going live. Do you want to show the people? What have you got? What have you got to show us?
Got this from eBay. Pack of Pro Set football cards.
Nice, Pro Set cards.
Sealed up.
Sealed as well, mate. Sealed, I think.
Factory sealed.
Wow.
Also
let us know. Did you have Pro Set cards?
Also got these packs as well.
Oh wow! So the 1990-91 collector's cards. They're cashing in on the success of Italia 90 there, I think.
That's Anders Limpar, is it?
I think so. Mate. I think so. And what else did you show me earlier on? You had something else as well.
I've got this pack as well from north of the border, Scotland.
So we've got some Scottish player cards, more Pro Set cards. So Pro Set's like heyday was what? In maybe the late 80s, early 90s, mate? Is that right?
1990s, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, because I know sort of pre-Premier League, I've got a few knocking around. I'm just trying to think where I put them. I had a Neville Southall one on display somewhere. I know.
You see it. John Lukic.
Oh, wow. John Lukic. Is that in his Leeds days?
Leeds, then.
Very fitting.
Tony Adams.
Tony Adams, it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit on topic. Did you see the reunion that Ian Wright posted with the Arsenal players?
I did, yes. Yeah.
So Ian Wright there in his Crystal Palace kit, giving Manchester United nightmares in, what was it, the 91, I think? When was it, 90? Around that time.
90, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
I did like that shirt, that Crystal Palace shirt.
It's a lovely shirt. It is a lovely shirt. Palace have had some nice shirts. I mean, I don't want to know too much about Palace because obviously they've been annihilating United on Monday night 4-0. Do you think that poor form Manchester United are in, well, or have been all season, do you think that will be a factor this weekend against Arsenal? Or do you think, like when they played Liverpool, unfortunately Arsenal could be in for a shock? What are your thoughts?
I think it's hard to say. I think that when Arsenal playing, we should get 3 points hopefully. But I just feel that after they lost midweek, didn't they, Manchester United?
That's it. Lost 4-0 to Palace. And also, mate, we've got many a centre back or many a defender out injured. Arsenal are quite prolific in their scoring this season. It could be embarrassing at Old Trafford for Manchester United.
I would take a 1-0 or 3-0 maybe.
Yeah, if there's ever a time for United to lose, this probably would be it with City. Because City have got Fulham, I believe, at Craven Cottage. Is that right?
So yeah, they've also got to play Spurs at New White Hart Lane Stadium, haven't they?
That's it. So they've got some tough matches coming up. Someone has asked me, am I in a Villa shirt? Yes, unfortunately. I decided to don the Hawaiian setup today, guys. Again, neutral on the channel. Personal allegiances go to one side. Andrew, I want to ask you the question, the topic of today. And would you say a undefeated, obviously you're a man who watched Arsenal become the Invincibles. If Leverkusen did the same, but in Europe and in their cup competition, would you say that's more shocking than Leicester City winning the Premier League?
The most remarkable thing would be by Leverkusen, because the first time they won the Bundesliga. This is the first time, isn't it, that they won the Bundesliga?
First ever time winning the Bundesliga. They've obviously, the DFB Pokal is their version of the FA Cup. They're in the final of that as well, so they can win that. And obviously, as of right now, it's 0-0. But obviously, in aggregate, they're going to be going through to the Europa League final. So,
yeah.
Leverkusen.
By Leverkusen, yeah.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else you want to show or say before you go?
It's got one or two more things. I've got a collector of programs on eBay. You know when when clubs leave their stadium.
Yeah.
This is the Spurs one.
Nice.
Do they play that game?
Yeah.
Nice, mate. Also got the West Ham one as well.
Oh, look at that. Farewell, Berlin.
Yeah.
Not the bowling ground, as it often gets.
Show you that one, last one. And Manchester City last at Main Road.
That was the last game at Main Road.
Oh yeah, against Southampton.
So that would have been 2002 or 3. I think it was 3, wasn't it?
2003.
Yeah, 2003. They moved to what was the City of Manchester.
Yes.
Andrew, mate, it's been a pleasure. Can I get a score prediction for this weekend? Man United versus Arsenal.
I'll go for a Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1.
Good prediction there, mate. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch up with you on Instagram after, mate. And thanks for joining the show this evening.
Take care.
Thank you, mate. Take care. There we go. Andrew there, Arsenal fan. He's fairly local to me as well. You might have heard a slight twang with his accent. Score updates, guys. 0-0 in the Leverkusen game. If we could get an update on the Villa game, that would be awesome. We've got a couple of comments here. Roy, are you on Twitter at all? I'm not, unfortunately, mate. Apparently, there has been a couple of fake versions of my accounts floating around over the last year or so. But no, do not have Twitter. Right, ladies and gents, get involved in the comments below. Let us know what you think is the more impressive achievement. As you can see on the ticker tape running across the screen. I'm just going to take that off for a moment because we are going to move swiftly on. Let me get that off there. Hide that one. There we go. Brand sweet. So this weekend, not only have we got Premier League action, obviously the following weekend, we've got the final round of final game week of Premier League games on the Sunday. Now, next weekend, I was planning on going to the EFL League One final, playoff final at Wembley. Unfortunately, I forgot the bloody missus is away on a bit of a hen weekend. But luckily she's back for Sunday morning, so I don't have to keep before. Obviously, I've got a lot of dogs and stuff. I don't have to be here. So Sunday instead, rather than go to the League One playoff final at Wembley, I'm going to go to the League Two playoff final at Wembley. And obviously, MK Dons are playing Crawley, and in the other one, you've got Doncaster Crew, I think. So it is looking like, if you look at the aggregate scores, that it could well be a Donny versus Crawley final. So I'm unsure as to where to sit. I'm sure there'd be a few places knocking about for the League Two playoff final. Maybe a little bit more difficult for Bolton versus Oxford. Obviously, Oxford is a lot more local to me. But unfortunately, we can't cover that one. But as well, the Champions League final is, of course, at Wembley. Try to get a ticket. If anyone can get hold of a ticket, I'll triple whatever you pay for it. At least you could probably get a lot more than that on eBay. But I am going to try and head down to Wembley to pick up some of the match day atmosphere for the Borussia Dortmund versus Real Madrid final with hometown boy, home country boy, England's own Jude Bellingham. He's on the grandest stage of them all before the Euros. Will Jude pull it out of the bag? Will Real Madrid pull it out of the bag? They're obviously going to go in favourites despite a somewhat poor season domestically. Dortmund, I mean, they've got 5 Champions League spots now, haven't they, the Bundesliga? It's been a great season for the Bundesliga. If you think, we spoke loads about Leverkusen, but also Stuttgart are having a really good season as well. I had the privilege of watching Leverkusen versus Stuttgart at the Bayer Arena a couple of weeks ago. Stuttgart were very unlucky not to get 3 points and to end the unbeaten streak. They've just beaten Bayern Munich as well, who obviously are competing with them for second place. So the fact that Bayern and Dortmund have made it, or Dortmund are in the final, Bayern to the semi-final, have done so well in the Champions League, just shows how strong the Bundesliga is. And it's been a pleasure covering some Bundesliga games and stadiums lately on the channel. So I just want to say thank you very much for the Germans for subscribing. Let's just check in on the comments. So it looks to be a Crawley versus Doncaster final. Do we have anyone in the comments in the live stream this evening, guys, who is going to be going to the League Two playoff final? Let us know if you are. It's not something I would normally cover for the channel. We tend to cover, I don't want to sound snobbish or snooty, tend to cover more like championship and above games. But I want to get down the leagues, down the tiers, and experiment with different leagues, different clubs, learn a little bit along the way as well. Thanks for your comments as well, Balham. Bayer winning Bundesliga is a relief for German football. It is. Obviously, it's been a pleasure watching the Bundesliga this season. A lot of us English people tuned in for Kane to see Harry Kane finally get a trophy, but we ended up falling in love with the Leverkusen story and just in with German football in general. Still 0-0 though. It does look like Leverkusen are going to progress to the final. Any update on... Andrew, I've got a private message from Andrew. Bromley played Solihull Moors in the National League final at Wembley. I was going to go to that one, mate. That was unfortunate because Solihull Moors did play quite well. Bromley won, first time in the Football League. Dennis Bergkamp's son is at Bromley. There we go. A nice Arsenal fact. Keep those coming, Andrew, because you did send a few on Instagram and I've got a terrible memory. So get your Arsenal facts in below. And Bromley, first time in the Football League. Congratulations to them. What am I doing? Right, so because I love German football so much, let's get that Leverkusen hat back on. Let's crack a drink open with my VFL Bochum Cup. I've been on the shandies all day. If you have tuned in or seen my Instagram posts, we're going to have a casual live stream tonight, guys. Keeping an eye on the scores and whatnot. We've got Hopi, who's just tuned in. So, ladies and gents, in a Manchester United shirt, I'm just going to get my headphones back on so I can hear him well. Let's hear from our next guest. Ladies and gents, hello, mate.
Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
Good, mate. You okay?
Good, yeah. I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Loving the Dortmund shirt in the background. I'm jealous because I want one myself.
Let me do this so people can. There we go. Thanks for doing it landscape as well. But yeah,
welcome.
mate.
Make it
Honestly,
easier.
it's a pleasure having you on. I don't want to be all doom and gloom and sort of be all upset over the 4-0 and stuff. But I just want to firstly hear your thoughts on United this season and over the past few days. What we saying?
Oh, we've been massively off it. We've been off it for a long time, though, as you know yourself. We've been off it for a long time. Since Fergie left, we've never fully reached those heights that we should have done. But yeah, it's hard to see. Seeing Ten Hag struggle as much as he has, it's just not great. And just the whole media side turning on him and all the players looking like they're down in tools for him and not wanting to play for the manager again. That's probably the 4th or 5th time it's happened in the last however many years.
This is the problem, isn't it?
Like, just can't keep going on doing the same
thing. Naturally, your instinct is like, yeah, we need a new manager. But as you say, we've done the cycle, but also the players. Do you not find this is the most dislikable team of all time?
Massively, mate. Yeah, completely agree with that. They are. There's a lot of players in there with a lot of great talent. Like, look at Rashford. You've got Bruno and Casemiro, but I think he's definitely coming to the end of his time at Manchester United. He's just not. I don't think he's up to scratch anymore.
I know he's been playing out of position, but he was absolutely awful, wasn't he, the other day, Casemiro? And
yeah,
I love Casemiro
he really
as well,
was.
So.
He's really struggling. I think the age is catching up with him, unfortunately. He's a brilliant player, but I think a move's definitely necessary for him.
A big Saudi move for him or something, mate. I want to hear what your thoughts are with the FA Cup final. Basically, kind of our last glimmer of hope and chance of silverware, of course, this season. Everyone's going to write us off. Like last year, we got up for it, and then was it Gundogan that scored the early goal?
Yeah,
it completely killed any hopes. Are we in for a repeat of last season?
Yeah, well, I know there's a lot of funny jokes going around. Anthony Martial's going to score the only goal of a game, and it's going to be a late winner. But yeah, I think we'll either get stuffed or we'll give them a good game. But I think we are going to get stuffed. I think it's going to be a 3 or 4-0. I can see it coming.
It's going to be a struggle, mate. Bear with me 2 secs. My dogs are going bloody nuts. But I want you just to chat to the people for 1 sec as to whether you think Leverkusen Invincible treble would be more impressive or more shocking than Leicester. Share your thoughts. The floor is yours.
Well, that's a good question. Probably, yeah. Being invincible is quite. It's quite an achievement. I don't know if it's only been achieved once with Arsenal, but you guys will have to let me know in the comments. Has it only been achieved once before? All I can think of is the Arsenal Invincible season. But yeah, it'd be very, very impressive. It's very rare for a team to come out and win every single one of their games. It's quite an achievement to be invincible. And I didn't think
I've heard everything you said, by the way. That's so. Thanks for holding the fort there. So are you going with Leverkusen then, being a more shocking story?
Yeah, I'm going with that.
So 2 people have said Leverkusen. 1 person said Leicester. I've not really shared my thoughts, but I'll get onto that in the end. I was going to ask you one more question, but I seem to have knocked down my sheet of paper. What do you think United should be doing this summer? Do you think they should be cutting ties with Erik Ten Hag? Do you think they should just be concentrating on getting players off the wage bill? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely not. I wouldn't get rid of Ten Hag. I wouldn't get rid of him. I would get the players in. I'd get the players out. You have to get the players out. There are some players in that squad who have seen through 3 or 4 managers, and they need dealing with. And some of the big egos, like, unfortunately, I'd have to say Jadon Sancho needs to go. He's a cracking player. He's played brilliant for Dortmund, but what he's done at United, I think we just need to cash in. We need to cash in now. So I think some of the players need offloading.
He's had a good Champions League campaign. And let's be honest, just because you don't get on well at a club doesn't mean you're a bad player. Sometimes the fit isn't right. And like you say, I was gearing towards Ten Hag out, but if you get another manager in, he's got to see the players he's got. He needs to make decisions, whereas Ten Hag knows what he's got. I think give him 1 more season. Just give him 1 more season. Let him do what he's got to do. Ineos behind him. Clear the dressing room. And let's just scale things back, go back to basics. No Casemiro last minute, huge wage signings. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, completely agree. You do need to offload it at this point. You need to get some money in and just rejig the squad a bit. Give Erik ten Hag a fighting chance, I think.
That's what I was going to ask you as well. So we're playing Arsenal this weekend. It's such an awkward game, isn't it? Because you never want your team to lose. But I don't know how you feel. As much as I hated Arsenal as a kid, I'd prefer them to win the Premier League than City. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I'd much prefer Arsenal to win that league. I'd hate City to win it again, but I think the one thing that I was dreading most hasn't happened. I was dreading City winning the treble twice in a row, and I think that sort of would have not discredited ours, but it'd have lessened the impact in historical terms. So I'm glad they haven't won two trebles in a
Liverpool
row.
not winning the league, I think, would have been worse for me as well.
Yeah, because I think that would have been brilliant. Well, it would have been brilliant for them. It would have gone down as, oh, Klopp's left, but we've won the Premier League and we've got this many cups, and it would have been, yeah, it wouldn't have been nice for us as a United fan not to win much, not to win anything, be embarrassed in an FA Cup final, and then have one of your biggest rivals, if not your biggest rival, winning stuff.
Mate, before you go, I know you've got to get on. What are you? I want to get 2 score predictions this weekend versus Arsenal, and also the FA Cup final. What are we saying?
I'm saying against. Oh no! I'm saying against Arsenal.
Okay, use head, not heart. Head, not heart.
Head, not heart. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think both of them for me. They are going to be losses, even in heart and head. I can't see this team winning anything.
It's such a United thing to do, to lose 4-0 to Palace and then go and beat Arsenal, though. I would not put it past United to go and beat Arsenal.
I'll give you four. I'll give you a head and heart prediction. Head for Arsenal, 3-0 or 3-1. Heart for Arsenal, 2-1 win. Head for City and 3-0 loss.
Mate, I'll go 2-1 to United on this weekend, and that's everyone's going, oh yeah, bias. I want Arsenal to bloody win, but I think we're going to end up winning and killing it.
Yeah, I'd love that. And then I'm going to go for heart for City. It's going to be a 3-2 all out. Just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks, see what happens. 3-2. It's going to be like that. Absolutely, I'd say it could be like that Liverpool game again. Well, that's in my heart. The head knows. The head knows.
We need an FA Cup classic.
Oh, I'd love that.
We need a classic. And I'm
We've already given a classic this year with the Liverpool one. With the Liverpool
match. It's been a classic run. Maybe the last game wasn't great for us, but obviously in terms of entertainment, it's been a hell of a run for United, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It has been really, really good, and I'd love to do something again before the season's over.
It would. Just imagine. I mean, if we won the FA Cup, it would definitely put a little. I was going to say icing on the cake, but there's no cake. It's just icing on the counter, isn't it, with a cherry on top?
Oh, yeah.
Mate, you're a legend. Thanks for hopping on the live stream.
Thank you very much, Rye.
Cheers, buddy.
It's been fantastic. Hopefully speak to you again soon.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye.
Thank you, buddy.
Ladies and gents, awesome. It's good to hear. Sorry if I was getting a little less neutral and getting a little bit more biased there, but I don't mean it in a bad way that I think Arsenal might lose this weekend, because common sense would say Arsenal are going to absolutely stuff United. But what a United thing to do, to lose 4-0 to Palace and then go and beat Arsenal and indirectly hand the Premier League to the arch rivals, the blue side of Manchester, of City. I'm just checking as well. My eyesight is awful. It is still 0-0 in the Leverkusen result. I don't care about aggregate and stuff. I don't want them to lose. Like, I'm not even a Leverkusen fan. I'm not even obviously a Villa fan. Let's get it off just to not upset anyone. You know I love your Villa fans. But I love football, and I love the stories around football, not just in the elite, in the Premier League. I love all aspects of football. And as I said, we're going to be there for the League Two final at Wembley. We're also going to be outside, unfortunately not inside, unless someone wants to get us a ticket for, I'm thinking of not just doing the Champions League final at Wembley, but also the FA Cup final as well. I might go to the old Box Park or a local pub or whatever and film around the ground to soak up some of the atmosphere and just enjoy myself, because that is a problem with YouTube. You've got one eye on what you're filming and you can't fully relax. We've got another private chat from Andrew. I thought Van Gaal was the one to take you forward. Yes, and well, I think a lot of United fans thought that, mate. It's been manager after manager. I've completely changed my tune because I thought I was very much Ten Hag out, but I think the problems are far deeper than Eric Ten Hag. Unfortunately, I mean, all managers make rash decisions. I've heard Thomas Tuchel being a possibility of coming to United, but for those who saw the Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich game last night, Tuchel, hang on. Oh no. Roma have got a penalty, guys. Roma have got a bloody penalty. Please don't be the day that the streak ends. Here we go. Penalty for Roma. Straight down the middle. Ladies and gents, the score. Bayer Leverkusen 0. Roma 1. Obviously, I don't want to get done for copyright. But there's a little cheeky glimpse. On aggregate, obviously, Leverkusen is still 2-1 up. So if the score was to stay the same, Leverkusen would progress to the final, but the unbeaten streak would end. It would end, wouldn't it? You've got to count that loss. If anyone knows the Villa score, actually, let's get Villa on, shall we? I'm on the app, the Discovery Plus app. So we've got Aston Villa live. Yeah, they're still 1-0 down, guys. 1-0 down. I think the European run for Villa is over because on aggregate they are 5-2 down. Definitely not looking like a possibility. So we've got Beer Matt, not even close, Leverkusen. So a lot of people are gearing towards Leverkusen. Now, what I wanted to say in terms of my own personal opinion, I think you can't argue with the fact that a full season unbeaten, winning every single trophy pretty much that you're in, doing a treble, it doesn't get much better than that. The achievements speak for themselves. I think the most impressive would be Bayer Leverkusen. As much as an English person who lived through the 2016 Premier League, that fairy tale was amazing. But I would say the most shocking, maybe again, it's from an English perspective, not a German perspective, the most shocking for me would probably edge towards Leicester. So it depends how you word it. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. We've got Ricky in the comments below. Will you ever do a whole city stadium, new and old? I was planning on doing it, mate. I was going to hold off, thinking that they were going to edge into the playoffs and take West Brom's spot. Obviously, didn't do that, but we will definitely be up to Hull for the new season. There's a lot of places to tick off the list. I'm actually off, ladies and gents, to Wales tomorrow. Well, kind of. Maybe that's a giveaway. We're off to film something in the sun, a little bit different from what we normally do. So stay tuned for that video. It's going to be a nice day in the sun. Someone's bound to have done a video on what I'm doing, but I've not seen one. So it will be quite interesting. Matt's as well said, are people really debating Leicester Leverkusen? I think I can get why people get quite frustrated and say it's obviously Leverkusen. You know, I've got a soft spot for Leverkusen. But I think it's the perspective. When you put things into perspective with Leicester, the start of the season, what were the odds? Actually, we've got the graphics. Let's get the graphics on the screen, guys. Bear with me one sec. We've got some graphics to help us out with this debate. Like this one right here. So some of you good people, some of you subscribers have got involved in a post that I made. The text is quite small here. Someone said Leicester winning the Premier League was clearly the bigger surprise, but an unbeaten treble is something else. Surely they aren't facing the strongest teams in the Europa League, but Dortmund, 5th at the Bundesliga, reached the Champions League final, and Bayern and Leipzig just losing close matches to Real. I think, yeah, it's basically saying the strength of the Bundesliga is really good. I mean, let's be honest, the Leicester City run, let's not put a dampener on Leicester's Premier League title. All the big teams, the big six teams, were off, weren't they? Their closest challengers were Tottenham. They ended up finishing bloody third. I think Arsenal finished second that season, didn't they? So I get it, but let's be honest, Bayern have been off. Stuttgart have been playing well, but Leverkusen keep digging in deep. The standard of the Bundesliga has been fantastic. So I agree with everything that's said there. Is this even a serious question? Premier League was a joke, culminating in Leicester's. Yeah, I know. Leicester was 5,000 to 1 on to win the Premier League. Leverkusen unbeaten treble, 18,200 to 1. So that's perspective right there. The odds speak for themselves. So that would suggest Leverkusen is the clear answer. It's obvious to some, but it is a debate because people are suggesting the opposite to Leverkusen. People are suggesting that Leicester is the bigger achievement. I did forget to mention this to our previous guest, the Manchester United fans. Some of you may have seen this on The Athletic. It's a list of the top 10 most valuable clubs. I'm sure this will get people talking, be a little bit controversial. It just shows, despite Manchester United's poor previous 10 years or so, the post-Fergie era, Manchester United are still apparently the most valuable club, as you can see there, with Real second, Barcelona third, Liverpool fourth, and Bayern Munich fifth. So I'd have put Bayern a little bit higher than that, but shows how much I know. Despite everything that's going on, Manchester United is still incredibly valuable. And I think it comes at a bit of a detriment because it's run like a business, isn't it? I think Van Gaal said the same. Being a manager of Manchester United isn't like being a manager of a football club. It's being a manager of a brand, a business, and so on. Very interesting. I thought United had slipped to maybe third. I knew maybe 10, 20 years ago that was the case. Still are the most valuable club, apparently. Andrew's dropped me a DM. You saucy devil, Andrew. The redevelopment of Real Madrid Stadium would be worth a visit. Definitely, mate. Definitely. We are planning a similar trip to, like we've just done in Germany, to Espanyol, to Spain. Not specifically Espanyol, sorry. My Spanish isn't very good, to Spain in the earlier part of next season. So, ladies and gents, we hate Big Bev. What we're saying, we hate Big Bev, not happened yet, and saying the Premier League is such a stronger league than the German league. Leicester all the way, plus what happened to them after with the highs and lows. That is a thing as well. We need to look at this objectively. Is that the right terminology? Leicester obviously had the great escape the season prior to winning the Premier League. Let's be honest, Leverkusen, they've never won the Bundesliga prior to this season, but they've come close, and people outside of Germany would regard them as kind of, you know, a top half of the table club. It would be like comparable to maybe like Villa winning the Premier League, or maybe Newcastle or something like that, which again would both be incredible achievements. But Leicester would be more like, I don't know, Bochum, maybe like Bochum or something winning the Bundesliga. I'm not sure. Maybe even a team smaller than Bochum. Love Bochum. Incredible. Very good point there, Big Bev. There's a lot of dynamics to that debate. I don't think it's quite as clear cut as some people are making out. Take the hat off. Don't jinx them. You've got a good point, mate. Let's get this hat off. There we go. It's very, very warm in Football Paradise this evening, guys. Christ, am I that loud? I have my earphones on. So, Matt is saying, short-sighted to buy into the Sky narrative that the Prem is the best league in the world. It's a tricky one. Ladies and gents, I was going to make a video on 5 reasons why the Bundesliga is better than the Premier League. And that's not to say that the Bundesliga is better, but 5 reasons, 5 things that the Bundesliga do better, or German football does better in general. Obviously, you've got the things like being able to drink, join a game, smoke, even though I don't smoke, being generally more relaxed and fan-orientated. But you cannot get away from the fact that the Premier League is by far the richest league in the world. But just because the money is being spent doesn't necessarily mean the standard of player is always better. I think generally the Premier League standard of player probably is better overall. But when you've got Chelsea spending 100 million on Mudryk, 100 million plus on Caicedo and so on, whereas Leverkusen get kind of Wirtz from, like, I think he came from like Cologne as a reject and stuff like that. When these clubs are developing players, they're slipping under the radar and picking up these bargains. Doesn't mean because they haven't spent the big bucks that player isn't necessarily as good as a player who's been bought for 100 million. So many layers to this debate. We've got Ella. What do you think about Bolton Wanderers? So yes, if you are just tuning into the live stream, I'm absolutely gutted because I was going to go to the League One playoff final. I can't make that on Saturday or next Saturday to watch Bolton Wanderers play Oxford, fairly local club to me. I wasn't sure which end I was going to go to, but yeah, I like Bolton. I think Bolton do get quite a lot of coverage from bigger YouTubers like Thogden and people like that. So they are, despite the fact that they're not quite in the Championship, even if they do make their way to the Championship, Bolton should be at least in the Championship. We did a little bit of a wander around what I still call the Reebok, the Tough Sheet Community Stadium, and was very impressed. It is a Premier League stadium, And yeah, got a soft spot for Bolton, but maybe Oxford can. Oxford were very lucky as Bear. Are you in the live stream, mate? John, where are you? Are you in the live stream, mate? Obviously, Peterborough absolutely smashed by Oxford, weren't they, mate? Hopefully, he responds to that. Oxford might sneak a win. Who knows? Versus Bolton. It's half time by the looks of it at the Olympiacos versus Aston Villa game. Let me just flip back over to Leverkusen. It's half time. I think it's half time on this game as well. So it's not looking good for Leverkusen if it is still 0-1. 0-8. Is that an... Yeah, it's half time by the looks of it. The Championship is a better league to watch / follow than the Premier League. Yes, that was one thing I would agree on from doing content this season. And that's the fact that I've sort of fell out of love with the Premier League. That's easy to say when your club is the massive worldwide brand who aren't doing very well. It's easy to fall out of love with a league. I'm sure things would be a little bit different if United were doing better. But I have fallen out of love with the Premier League. And I've very much enjoyed the Championship this season, and obviously the Bundesliga as well. There's so many good leagues out there. I think we just naturally gravitate towards the Premier League, and a lot of people think that's just it. It's a natural thing to do if you're a bit of an armchair supporter, which I was very guilty of for many a year. But the Championship has been fantastic, and I'm looking forward to it again next season because you've got Luton. How will they fare? I mean, I'm a bit worried for Luton. I think, presuming they're going to be relegated, I think Luton might struggle next season. I don't want them to. I want Luton to stay and solidify themselves because they've slipped down the tiers so many times. We did a video on Luton. Everyone talks about their recent rise from non-league to Premier League, but they've yo-yoed up and down the league so many times over the years. Here he is. Hopefully I've thrown the bait out there. Oxford was lucky. Bolton will do what we couldn't do, but at least our 100% record at Wembley will last another. I think he means season, and also looking forward to Birmingham and Wrexham away next season. That's it. Peterborough fans have got lots to look forward to. It's going to be a bloody good League One next season. You got the likes of Birmingham, obviously Rotherham are down, and Huddersfield are down as well from the Championship. But promotion-wise, I mean, Stockport did well this season, Wrexham, and then obviously we could have who else is it? Yeah, who else in the playoff final? Could be Doncaster, Crewe, MK Dons, or Crawley. So maybe not such a good promotion in terms of name. Fan owned in Germany. That's something else we love about Germany. Not only is it fan orientated, obviously you got the 50+1 rule. There are a couple of exceptions. When we did the Leverkusen Stadium tour, obviously Bayer, the local sort of pharmaceutical company who owned by Leverkusen, they're a company club originally. So I think there's some law whereby they don't have to be 50+1. I think the same applies to Wolfsburg, possibly with Volkswagen. And that's why the likes of Hoffenheim had loads of money ploughed into them because they were lower in the divisions and they didn't have to comply with the 50+1 rule, I think, anyway. But the team I'm seeing tomorrow, it's not actually a game, but the ground I'm going to and the team I'm making the video on, I may as well give it away, a TNS in Wales. They're by far the biggest Welsh Premier League club. They won the title again this season. They finished first or second every season apart from, I think, 2008 for like the last 20 or so years. The name originally TNS was Total Network Solutions until they were bought out by BT, and then they had to change the name. But I really hate company names in the name of football teams. People presume RB Leipzig means Red Bull. We all know secretly it does. But there is a law again in Germany which means officially they're not Red Bull Leipzig, even though in other leagues Red Bull have got teams. That's it, Mansfield. Sorry, mate. Mansfield came up also. I forgot it's 4 teams, isn't it, going up? I enjoyed my little walk around Mansfield's ground. Would like to get to a game next season, maybe even 2, a Peterborough versus Mansfield game, mate, if you're up for it. Pompey fan here. Stacey, can't wait to get going. And haven't even mentioned Portsmouth. Haven't even mentioned bloody Portsmouth, have I? It's great to see Portsmouth back in a championship. Do you know what? I'm going to do my predictions for the Championship in another video, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the Championship as well this season, or next season, should I say. Portsmouth, possibly Bolton, Derby. Sorry, again, my mind's gone. I've been on the shandies earlier on, so apologies. I'm a bit slow with remembering. Derby as well. Derby, they looked dead and buried, didn't they, with their financial worries? They almost went into liquidation and so on. It's great to see these clubs turn things around. I mean, the obvious one is, of course, Ipswich, who, again, were facing financial issues, and now they're in the Premier League. That's it. When we talk about the Premier League and the gap widening between these big clubs, the elite, and everyone else below them, I love the fact that we're still getting stories like the odds against these clubs. They're defying the odds, and they're still making a success. I know the Wrexham story is very different with the Hollywood nature of it, and obviously a bit of Hollywood money as well. But there's a story with Wrexham going up through the leagues. You've got obviously Ipswich one. You've got Portsmouth coming back up top. There's so much going on. Stockport have done really well. We've had like kind of back-to-back promotions, back-to-back relegations this season. I think it's been a really good season for English football, for obviously German football as well. And even if Man City do go and win the Premier League, I'd say the odd comment, off the cuff. But genuinely speaking, if a team goes out their way and wins 4 Premier Leagues in a row, regardless of the 115 charges, I'm not going to keep saying that, it's impressive, isn't it? You've got to just hand it to them, because the players on the pitch, they have nothing to do with everything behind the scenes. Just credit where credit's due all round. I know I'll probably get killed for saying that. What's your favourite old stadium? So, favourite old stadium. Christ, we should probably speak about some of the best and worst stadiums we visited this season, because it's been a fair few. Let me change my allegiance. Again, where is it? As I'm drinking out of a Bochum cup. Can I just say as well, I probably haven't mentioned it much. Speaking of German football, I absolutely loved the trip to, is it the Ruhrstadion, the Vonovia, whatever the sponsor name is. They're a club in Germany, and the ground was very English. Really loved the ground. Probably one of my favourite grounds I've ever visited, actually. I love the look of it. I think it was built in the 70s, but it had this unique kind of slanted look. The old Boy Arena was originally based on Bochum's ground. Obviously, it's been completely modified in recent times, but loved VfL Bochum's ground. So in Germany, that was one I did have a massive soft spot for. In terms of England, the most impressive, let's not beat around the bush, for facilities and the most striking, it's got to be the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But in terms of like gritty English, old school charm, we did a video on it on the Premier League stadiums, and I kind of hinted that maybe Craven Cottage was one of my favourites. I obviously love Villa Park. I love those old Archibald Leach creations, designs from the early 20th century. Those I've always got a soft spot for, but I love it when you've got tradition meeting modern technology, new versus old. And that's why I loved Craven Cottage, because they've got the brand new Riverside stand, I think that's what it's called, on the River Thames, opposite the Johnny Haynes stand, the Stevenage Road stand. The contrast for me is beautiful. And I've tried to get tickets actually for the game this weekend versus City. Didn't have any luck off the cuff. Just had a little look earlier on. Naive of me to think that I could get tickets, but I'm also trying to get Luton versus Fulham next week, because it would be quite interesting if Luton still had a fight. Kenilworth Road's old. It's quirky. I think we should preserve these old quirky stadiums. It will be a shame to see the ground go. We had a little visit of where Luton could possibly move to, Power Court. But it's nice when teams get new grounds. I think it helps with their progression, like it'll help Everton. But they're a dying breed, aren't they, these grounds? A long kind of roundabout way of saying I loved Craven Cottage. Sorry about that, mate. For sure, man, if you ever need a +1 to any game, UK or abroad, I will be down. Well, let's bloody do it, mate. Book the flights. Let's go. I'm always up for going to see some games. I'm going to try and not stay on the live stream too long, guys. Probably about another 10 minutes, because we haven't taken the dogs out because of the heat. So the missus is giving me evils, because we're going to take them out in a moment. But we are going to answer a few more of your questions, because there's a lot of you in the chat. Yes, mate. Sorry, we will go to we will go to watch Mansfield versus Peterborough next season, definitely. Do you like Selhurst Park? Wow, what's left of it? Selhurst Park's where Middlesbrough used to play, isn't it? Am I getting things muddled up? I liked the look, the pictures. I liked the site it was on. I like to say I like the little mural that was there, but that was all smashed up. Love the riverside though. I might be getting things wrong. My memory isn't the best. Ladies and gents, as well, get involved with the comment section with regards to Leverkusen versus Leicester, which was the most special of stories. I think if we put impressive, I think Leverkusen is the obvious answer. Leverkusen, a brand new manager who's gone unbeaten in every competition. Never mind Leicester, it surpasses Arsenal's unbeaten league season. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I'm by no means undermining that opinion. That is very valid indeed. Very, very valid. And let's be honest, I think it is still half time, but if Leverkusen were to win this, they would be 49 games unbeaten. And as a reminder, I know this is in all competitions, 49 games unbeaten, but in terms of Premier League, Arsenal were 49 games unbeaten. Who beat them on the 50th game? Arsenal fans don't like being reminded of that game because United kind of roughed them up a little bit. They were a bit lucky. I think Rooney got accused of diving. It was a rash, vicious challenge, which was obviously a penalty. Bolton Wanderers is Sigma. I'm not sure what you mean. I've seen your Fratton Park Stadium tour. That's how I found your channel. But have you ever been to a match there? No. And that's an absolute travesty because obviously the Pompey atmosphere is fantastic. A Pompey game in the Championship. And obviously if Southampton don't get promoted, whoa, that will be one we'll have to try and get to. Imagine that. I do feel like the hatred between Southampton and Portsmouth is almost, maybe not down south because you're around it all the time, but up this way, is maybe an underrated rivalry. We all talk about, the northern rivalries, the London rivalries and stuff, but it's a great rivalry. I loved it. I do feel like a little bit more hatred maybe comes from the Pompey side, but that tends to be the thing. I think Southampton, Hampshire in general, Southampton seems to be a bit more, how do I put it without sort of not offending anyone? I think the working class is a bit more prevalent in Portsmouth, so there's a bit more grit there, and I fully get that, fully understand that. We got a private chat going on here. When do Luton move to their new stadium? That's Andrew saying. That's a private message. I'm worried because I think if Luton do get relegated and they struggle in the Championship next season, I've got a feeling Park Court might not happen. It is similar to Forest Green. Forest Green have obviously been relegated from back-to-back relegations from League One and now from League Two. One of my most local of clubs. Talk of building a new stadium called Eco Park has been in the news for many years, but now back-to-back relegation obviously comes with financial implications, and I'm pretty sure that Eco Park will definitely be put on hold. So maybe the same will apply to Luton. Big Beth, you will have to go to the Cambridgeshire Derby. It's class. Definitely want to try and get some more derbies next season. So, ladies and gents, I mean, I must be honest, I'm in a bit of a dilemma as to the direction to take the channel. So apologies for lots of polls and stuff recently. I might get a few of those up actually, just to refer to them. It is the second half, by the way, at the Bayer Arena. Bayer Leverkusen 0, Roma 1. So they are trailing, and I hope this isn't going to be the end to that awesome unbeaten streak. But getting to more rivalries is definitely on the cards. I'd love to focus a little bit more on Bundesliga stuff. Let me just get to the community. So I did ask you guys in the poll yesterday, do we spend tomorrow filming some content in the English Sun, or do we edit up the Schalke Stadium Tour, the Woutins Arena? 55% said go and film in the Sun. 45% said edit up the Schalke Tour. I have decided, as I said earlier, to go and do some filming in Wales. But the thing is with TNS, it's a club which is a co-club between a merger of a Welsh club and an English club, but they technically play in England, but they play in the Welsh Premier League. So it's going to be a really interesting video. I'm going to film that tomorrow. but we'll get the Schalke tour up. Hopefully Monday morning will be good. Got to have a little bit of space between the Dortmund stadium tour and obviously the arch rivals Schalke, because the Dortmund stadium tour is doing quite well, actually. It's just starting to take off a little bit with views, so check that video out if you haven't already. But let's finish up with getting the Schalke vest on. I'm off to walk the dogs in a minute, so I've got to get a bit high visibility on the go. The missus is going to love this outfit. Look like I'm off for a rave, an 80s rave. Next poll, guys, I asked you guys again, would a Leverkusen unbeaten treble be more impressive than Leicester City winning the Premier League? And despite lots of people saying that it's an easy answer, the poll would suggest otherwise, because only 63% of you have said Leverkusen, 37% of you have said Leicester was the biggest story. So, yeah, Leverkusen are winning that one. I also asked you guys, what league do the team you support play in? The choices were Premier League, Championship, or League 1, 2/non-league, another European league, or a league outside of Europe. 49% of you, almost half of you watching this channel or doing the poll, support a team in the Premier League. So it is only right that we do a lot of Premier League focused content. Championship, 21% of you. League 1, 2 and non-league, only 15% of you. Another European league, which I'm probably guessing off the back of the more recent videos, would be the Bundesliga, 12%. And a league outside of Europe, only 4%. So with that in mind, are we sticking with Premier League heavy content in the next season? Are we going to focus more on leagues overseas, or are we going to go a little bit down the divisions? That is up to you guys. This channel is for you. I'm merely the numpty in a high vis and a bucket hat, navigating the ship. So I really do appreciate your time this evening. It is almost 9:10, and I think it's time for me to take the dogs out whilst listening to the Leverkusen and Villa game. It's been a pleasure, guys. I'll see you next Thursday for another edition of Soccer PM, a whole new live stream here from Football Paradise HQ. And check out the Dortmund tour if you haven't already. And on the weekend, that video I'm filming tomorrow in Wales. Thanks again, guys. Thanks, Tina. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ella. Thanks, Big Bev, Stacey, HDW, loads of you. Andrew as well, all of our guests. See you later, Andrew. See you later, guys.